Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we are jumping into a topic that has totally reshaped how businesses work, and honestly, how we as business analysts can make a real impact. We're talking all about business analysis in the cloud. And trust me, this isn't just some techie detail anymore. It's a massive shift in our entire profession. And this quote, it just nails it. It really sets the stage for everything we're about to cover. The skills and the mindset that got us through on-premise projects, they need a total refresh for this new cloud era. It's really not a matter of if you're going to work on a cloud project, it's a matter of how you're going to master it. All right, so let's set the scene. We're living and working in a cloud-first world now. And that simple fact changes, well, pretty much everything, from that very first chat about requirements all the way to the final solution design. For years, our biggest roadblocks were physical things. How many servers we had, the limits of our data centers, that kind of stuff. But the cloud has made most of that invisible. It's gone from being a problem for the IT department to a core business strategy that drives speed, growth, and innovation. And as a BA, you're right in the middle of it all. But here's the exciting part. This new world opens up some absolutely incredible opportunities. Now, yeah, the cloud has its challenges, and we'll get to those for sure. But first and foremost, it gives business analysts some seriously powerful new tools to make a huge impact. The first huge win is just pure speed. The agility you get with the cloud is an absolute game changer for the BA role. We're not talking about a small speed bump. We're talking about hitting the accelerator on the entire project lifecycle. And that speed changes your day-to-day job in a big way. With stuff like CI/CD, which stands for continuous integration and continuous delivery, the time it takes to go from writing a requirement to actually seeing it work can shrink from weeks down to just a few hours. That means you can get your stakeholders' eyes on it almost instantly, check if your ideas are on the right track way earlier, and tweak those requirements with a speed that just wasn't possible before. Next up, scalability. This is easily one of the most powerful ideas in the cloud, and it completely flips the script on how we handle requirements for things like capacity and performance. This quote really gets to the heart of that mindset shift. We're not buying a fixed number of servers anymore and just hoping it's enough. We're using resources on demand. So as a BA, your questions change. You start asking, what does our peak load even look like? Is it during the holidays, the end of the month? You're the one who helps figure out the business rules that let the system automatically scale up when it's busy and scale back down to save money when it's quiet. It's amazing. Another massive win is how the cloud makes super advanced technology available to, well, everyone. Things that used to take huge teams of PhDs and a crazy amount of money for infrastructure are now basically available right off the shelf. Just think about it for a second. Cloud providers have these plug-and-play services for artificial intelligence, machine learning, and big data. So your focus as a BA gets to shift completely. You're not stuck in the weeds worrying about setting up the infrastructure. Instead, you get to focus on the fun stuff, the business value. How can we use AI to give better recommendations? Could machine learning help us spot fraud? You get to focus on the what and the why, and let the cloud handle the how. But of course, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. With all this new power comes some new complexities. So let's pivot and talk about the challenges. Because a truly great BA doesn't just see the cool new opportunities. They see the risks coming and help everyone get ahead of them. And you can really see here how our main worries have just evolved. Where we used to stress about having enough physical servers, now we're focused on making sure cloud costs don't get out of hand. Instead of physical locks on a server room, we're talking about data encryption and who has access. And that big, scary upfront cost of buying hardware, well, that's been replaced by a new risk, an operational bill that can spiral if you're not paying attention. Let's start with the big one, security. Now, cloud providers have absolutely world-class security of their cloud platforms. But securing your data in the cloud, that's a whole different ballgame. And this is where a concept called the shared responsibility model comes into play. This is something every BA working with the cloud has to understand, period. The provider, think Amazon, Microsoft, Google, they handle the security of the cloud itself. That means the physical buildings, the network, the core stuff. But you, the customer, are responsible for security in the cloud. That's things like managing who has access, encrypting your data, and making sure you're following rules like GDPR. Your requirements in these areas have to be absolutely airtight. So that pay-as-you-go model is awesome, right? It's one of the cloud's biggest selling points. But it's also a double-edged sword. If you're not careful, those costs can get out of control, and fast. And the BA plays a huge role in making sure that doesn't happen. So your job of gathering requirements has to get a little bigger. You need to be asking questions about setting up budget alerts and monitoring usage. You have to understand the different pricing models. Is it cheaper for us to reserve this resource for a year or just pay by the minute? Every single requirement you write that uses a cloud resource now has a direct, immediate, and very real impact on the company's monthly bill. And finally, let's talk about integration. Because here's the thing. New cloud solutions almost never live on an island. They have to talk to the company's old systems, the on-premise databases, maybe even other cloud services. And that can get messy. Yeah, getting all these different systems to play nicely together is a huge puzzle. As the BA, you're the one defining how that messy middle part works, that complex web of APIs and data flows that connects the old world with the new cloud services. You have to make sure the data moves seamlessly and securely, because if you get that part wrong, the whole project can grind to a halt. Okay, we've looked at the incredible opportunities and we've stared down some of the big challenges. So that brings us to the most important question of all. What does this actually mean for your skill set? How do you get ready to be that invaluable person in this new landscape? And let's just be real about this for a second. Getting up to speed with the cloud isn't about memorizing a few new acronyms. It's a pretty significant learning curve. And it really does mean investing some time in learning new foundational concepts about how all this technology actually works. At the very least, you've got to get comfortable with these core ideas. You need to know the difference between IaaS, which is like renting raw computing power, PaaS, which gives you a platform to build on, and SaaS, which are the ready-to-go apps. You also want to get familiar with common services, like knowing AWS S3 is for storage, or that Azure functions are for running code. Look, the goal isn't to become a cloud engineer, but it's about being able to speak the language and understand the Lego bricks of the solutions you're helping create. So, to wrap it all up, this big shift to the cloud, it's not coming someday. It's already here and it's not going anywhere. For us as business analysts, learning to embrace these changes, to grab the new opportunities, and to navigate these new challenges, that is the absolute key to becoming a leader in any modern organization. So we'll leave you with that one final question to think about. Is your skill set ready for this cloud-first world? Thanks so much for tuning in.